Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. Hope everybody have a great evening, guys. Really nice day. Really nice day. Started a little slow, but a lot of our setups started to work. I did tweet out the free game plan on the Twitter as well today. Before we start, let's do a quick introduction for anybody who's new to my community or who's new to my following new on YouTube or on Twitter or X, or following any of our other accounts on X. All these trades and all these teachings are either from any trade ideas, mostly from our community, or anything I share on Twitter or I share with you guys in previous YouTube videos. We trade a repeatable system called Ripster EMA Cloud system that thousands of traders across the world use to trade consistently. You can Google and you will find out how the system has been changing lives for years. We also trade repeatable setups. System is how you trade, setup is what you trade, and our setups that we trade comes out of these repeatable systems. Every morning, me and my team, we create a game plan for the day. We have earning setups, we have news setups, upgrades, downgrades, marketplace, all those setups. We create a game plan, initial game plan, and we have a support and resistance, and we have initial bias, and we change our bias what our system tells us. We trade at the open. We have midday setups. Opening trades are a little volatile. Then we have end of the day setup, 10 a.m. setups. We have a lot of setups which we trade, and we share this game plan. In addition to that, we also share something called day 2, day 3 setups. Day 2, day 3 setups, a repeatable strategy that that I did a free webinar on Twitter as well, talking about this day 2, day 3 setups. Uber was a great one from this day 2, day 3 setup, and PLTR was a great setup as well from our day 2, day 3 long. Bunch of other day 2 setups. We will recap those as well. In addition to that, we also share daily levels. These daily levels are for index stocks, SPY, QQQ, Netflix, all those big 7, so that traders can use these levels and trade. In addition, we also share crypto levels, so you can trade any crypto stocks, coin, MSTR, and all those. We also have futures now. We share the futures level in the community, so the traders can use these levels to trade with the system. You can pause the screen and see what it says and understand our system and how we trade it. I'm usually on the voice first few hours of the market open, and I'm on the voice if needed, if like today, guiding the traders through the trade ideas and anything, and helping the traders manage their trade well, be it managing the trade or mental aspect of trading. I try to guide the traders in the community. We have thousands of traders in the community. On our trading floor is one of the best trading floors, and we have thousands of traders sharing trade ideas so that we can find some good setups and trades to make some good, nice winning trades, having small losers and big winners. That's our focus. We do have multiple tools in our community. We have 3-4 option flow scanners. We have breaking news scanners. We have trade idea scanner. We stock scanner. We have bookmap, and we also have support resistance alerts. So there's a lot of value we provide in this community, not as an alert service, but as a community of traders who work together, work with the system, and try to find the opportunities in the market. You can go to tanatradegroup.com and just read more about us. Anyways, that being the introduction, let's start. I'm going to show you my timestamped guidance. Most of my guidance is on the voice, so I can't really show that. So let's go and see how all of our trades were today, and let's start. So let's start with ARM today. So ARM was a loser on the amateur move. I often encourage traders that they need to understand what is an amateur move and what is a trend move. Amateur moves are pretty volatile moves. Sometimes they can turn into losers. So you have to size a little smaller on amateur moves. And ARM was a great example of the amateur loser. So let's see what was our plan on ARM. Let's go here and take a look. The plan on ARM was only interested in long if MTF holds. 162.50 was our support, 166, 168.40 was our resistance. So when ARM broke that support levels, right at the open, I said short it. So I told everybody to short it, And when it started to swipe back up, shorted the 161s, and as soon as started swipe back up, got out of the short, took the loss, took a loss there, $3 per share loss, got out. And then I told everyone that trying it as a long, because it's curdling over the 512s, is curdling over the MTF clouds, just like how I mentioned in the pre-market planning, that only interested if MTF holds. So once it started to push over this level at the 512s and one MTF clouds, that's when I turned into the long versus 163 small size, and my first target was 168, right? So the long was right here over 164, 165. First target was 168, we met it. The second target was 170, and I told everybody to move the stops, break even, and we got a nice little push. We recovered from the loss. We pushed from 165 to 170, so I was able to cover the loss from the short side. You can see that timestamp guidance here, and once it broke this 512, we were out, because if it was a beautiful trend held all day, we would have held. But that was a big move for us, and we were, it was a good move to take the profits and get out of it. I think the options also moved decent on that one. So that was a morning trade. The important thing to understand here is the amateur move. Why were we short? Because we were short because it was breaking under the MTF cloud. And the thing is, you can see that where it's bouncing from. So it never really failed that level. And the buyers came in right at that levels. We always use this concept of the pre-market lows. If it broke that level, it would have paid us really nicely, but it held and it swiped back up. That's why we covered short, and that's why we went long as well. And that was the trade. So morning loser on ARM, amateur move. If you lost on the amateur move, make sure you understand how these setups work. Sometimes they work, and the amateur works in a trend move, and it would have faded to 152 and would have really paid us nicely, but that didn't work. But regardless, never be afraid of changing your bias and moving to the long side. And you can see here, long from 163, and it was a nice move over that. Risk was 163, long was 164. Let's go to the next one. All right, let's look at PLTR. I've been for the PLTR, I have posted extensively. I've been posting the YouTubes, I've been posting the recaps, what my thoughts on PLTR. My thoughts on PLTR are simple, right? You can look at the 1 hour chart. When this 100 keeps holding, as long as it holds 100, there's no short. There is no short, right? We tried to short yesterday, but it had swiped back over 100. So you mean that the buyers are just so strong that, it's not going to fade. And it was a day 3. That's why it was on our day 3 list. PLTR day 3. 1996 support, 101 resistance, 100 psych support. Remember, that's why I say do not forget about the stocks which are making the moves, which had an earning a day prior, and second day and day 3. That's why we never forget about them. So as soon as I saw that swipe up, and I mentioned that there's a lot of flow on PLTR. PLTR is going to go higher. This was all my voice guidance. I told all the traders to get in a trade that. I did recommend not to chase, because you have to be ready. You have to see the pre-market plan, PLTR, and you have to be ready to long it. The thing to understand it, lot of traders are looking to short it. They keep talking about the valuation. Valuation doesn't really matter when you're a trader, because they will short it based upon that, but there's no short. It's holding 1 hour clouds. There is simply no short here. And imagine if everybody's trying to short it, then it's going to give you a nice little squeeze. And that's what really started to happen. A lot of flow started to come in, 107 flow, 110 flow. Nice, there was a lot of flow coming in over ghost option scanner as well. When I see that flow, there's also a lot of gamma squeeze happening, because as it goes higher, the option sellers need to cover. They buy the stock, and you see the strength, right? 106 target, then I gave 107 target. Then I said throw some profits into some lotos like 110 or 108. And those lotos on the 110 and 108, they were like dollar. They were like $1.20. They already went 100%. They are going to open pretty good tomorrow. they're all going to open pretty good tomorrow. So we'll, it's going to be very, really nice because we are just trading that profit. So that's why I said throw some profits, right? And we had some stops and we held it. When it broke the 512s, we exited. I mean, I exited. A lot of traders were there. But when it reclaims, so that's the big thing. When it reclaims, you get back in. You can still hold your lotos, add back your lotos, 110 lotos, doesn't really matter. So you see, then I alerted a flag break as well on PLTR, because this is why I say do not short. You can try the short here, but still holding 34.50, and you get out. Take a scratch loss and turn long. There was a flag break alert I sent out here, 108.68, but there was another entry on this curl here at 512s. Right. So, and once there was a huge seller at 110, that was the next target. And once the 110 seller was cleared, that was it. It was going to squeeze pretty hard, because when whole world is looking to short something based upon a fundamental that it's trading at such an, overvaluation, then, it's a recipe of a squeeze if the stock doesn't give up. If the stock is not listening to the fundamentals, that means that there's a lot of crowd there which is stuck. A lot of crowd is stuck short. Maybe a lot of some institution is short as well. And it's when that it's not leaving the 100 level, there's no short. And then starts the flow. You see the flow coming in, and then it's a gamma squeeze. And this is what you see at end of the day. All the lotto options all the way 110, 108, the market makers are simply squeezing it. So this is right now, it's what we call is a squeeze out. And they're going to be a pullback, because this is a squeeze out. When all the shorts are squeezed out, market makers are fine, then we're going to pull back. Doesn't mean that we're going to fade all the way back to 90. That's not how it works, but there's going to be a pullback. As a trader, it's a good trade. As an investor, of course, you put your stops at 100, if you're an investor, as long as 100 holds, you hold. But as a trader, you take the profits when the trend changes. If 10-minute breaks down, you get out. Now we know there's a clear support at 108. Right here, you see the 1 hour flag. That was a beauty. So that was a 1 hour flag breakout. That was really nice. And that's how it went higher and higher and higher. So change your mentality. A lot of traders were actually holding the puts in, and I told them, don't do it. Don't short it. I've been warning all day, do not short it. There's no short. There was a 512 short scalp. That's it. But there was no short. There's no need to lose all your account trying to short it. Rather, just go long it. That's why I was saying buy the lotos 110, 108. And that's how the PLTR was a huge, huge trade in the community today. A lot of traders really killed PLTR. I've been tweeting about it as well. Just insane mover for everyone. Beautiful, beautiful trade by everyone, PLTR. And that was just a beauty, So yeah, that was PLTR. And I did say that it's going to push to 110 now. You see that. And it did push to 110. And that was a beautiful, beautiful trade. If you see that the options on PLTR from the morning, you could, when it's running, you could trade the 105s. Those 105s, went from $1 all the way to, $5, 500%. And you can roll that profit into 108, 110. And you could hold it, re-add it, 34.50 is holding. So that was PLTR. So if you are getting squeezed, let this be a lesson. Always look at the price action, the volume, the option flow. The trend is bullish. There's no short. The clouds are bullish. Use the system rather than blindly following somebody who's just saying that, it's overvalued. So you can see that why I gave these targets, 107, because it was high on the earnings highs. That's why it was first target. Once that breaks, 110 was the next target. Once we squeezed out, and then of course a lot of traders are holding some lotos. Should be opening nicely there, but we'll see how it goes tomorrow. But getting a little extended. If it holds this 110 pullbacks here, then it's can squeeze more. Who knows? More gamma squeeze, then we'll trade more long. But as it goes higher, we have to be a little risk, manage a risk little well, than just going crazy sizing up here. All right, next one we're going to look at is Lilly. So let's see what was Lilly did today. So Lilly had an earnings. Lilly was on our game plan. Let's see here. Neutral bias, no long under 845. 840 support, 846 breakout, 850 breakout, bunch of the breakouts. As soon as it pushed, I saw it's pushing, I missed a good entry, but then I told everybody long ads versus 850. Why? Because it's over the clouds. So long ad on pullback only. I said pullback only. And that's when the 850 dipped. That's where you add right here and you hold. 871 was the first target, as I mentioned. And then, stops, we moved higher, 851. Then came our breakout. I told everyone on the voice that if we break 871, we are going to go way higher because there's a gap on the daily chart. You can clearly see there's a gap on daily chart. And, there's a gap on daily chart and also breaking over the pre-market highs. The Lotus really went way higher, 200, 300%, 865 went nicely as well. Really a home run trade. That's why you have to be patient, let the trade work. We have had historic trades on Lilly. That's why, we always know the personality of the stock, that it can squeeze out a lot. And today's a Thursday, so options are lotto. So they are going to move really well and give you good returns. So next one we're going to look at is Uber. Let's look at Uber. So Uber was a long. Let's look at the game plan. The game plan I gave on Uber this morning was bullish bias to long versus 64.85. You can see here right at the bottom, 64.85. And Uber was not just today's upgrade on the, it's an A+ because a Bank of America Securities raised the upgrade. It was also a day 3 setup. If you remember, it was day 2 setup. We had earnings, and then we had that you see day 2 setup, day 2's Ubers. So and then that's why it was strong. And once it started pushing, I told everybody long it, use the stops as 65. Once it's pushed over the MTF clouds, it got more stronger. 512 holds, dip buys, 512 holds, dip buys, 512 holds, and then it started to flag. I mentioned the Uber flag at 10:20 a.m. and and then it started to break out of the flag, pulled back, and then it finally broke out of the flag, and the target was 70, and we hit our 70 target by end of the day. So Uber was really nice. Winning trade in the community just with the system. You see MTF Cloud 1, MTF Cloud 2, MTF Cloud 3. Just a beautiful move on Uber. All right, let's look at one of the losers we had today. That was Peloton. Let's see what was our plan on a Peloton in the pre-market. Plan on the Peloton on the pre-market was let's see here, bullish bias versus the MTF clouds, because it was a little extended from MTF cloud. So I guess it was a little bit more risky, but we managed. I told everybody long right at the open 920s, but it pushed to 950. I said we need 950 break, but it rejected 950. We stopped out at 910s, under 9. We took our 20-30 cent loss. If we did not take that loss, we would have lost much more, 50-60 cents. It would have been a big loss. So you see that. And that's why you have to respect the system. It's spiked, but there is no trend. Once the 512 breaks, that's it, right? So you see the other players like Uber, Lilly, what they are doing, they're holding the system and they go all day. And what Peloton is doing, breaking the system, and it's fading all day. So guys, you're not going to find a system like this if you really commit to this system. And that's why day in, day out, I teach you, you can really change your life. You can make good trades and you can really become, have some financial growth, account growth, right? A small loss like that means nothing when a good trade like Uber is going higher and higher. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, let's look at a Tesla today. So Tesla was another beautiful short in the community today, and it was like a huge trade for us. It was like a full-size short. So Tesla short, how it worked out this morning. Let's look here. You can see that. So Tesla was, on our game plan. You can see there. No long under 370, only long 512 curls. 374 is a big daily level, right? So no long under 370, only long 512 curls. 374 is a big daily level. There's this bad news on Tesla as well. Good job by our team admin Vinod to get all that news together. So Tesla, once I saw this cloud rejection, this is what I cover in the webinars as well, which tells you that's a short. I knew it's a short right away. When it was so heavy, I said short. I told everybody short versus 3450, short right here. Then the first target was 365. That's what I meant. Then 367 came, that gone. 365 came, that gone. Next target was 362s. Great flow alert by Ghost Board as well on the option puts in our community. We have this free tool he provides us in the community. Great tool he has built. You must follow that. That gave us nice winner. And then and then it bounced. The traders wanted to long it, and it was still a short. Reject, 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 and we were still short. The options went crazy on the Tesla short today. If you want to look at, let's look at our 365 lotos or 370s. Let's look at 370s. 370s in the morning went from 450 all the way to $9, 100% there, right? And so that was the Tesla options, and if you were shorting shares, even better. We got from 370 almost $7-8 per share profit. And not only that, we did long it as well. Once it curled, I said no more shorts. Long versus 366. This was a long. The stops were at 366. We got 373. We got another $7 to $8 on the long side. Beautiful, beautiful trade, and we were out when it broke down here. So you can clearly see everything timestamped guidance, no BS. Up, down, trade Tesla for living. You just need to use the system. I'm not interested in buy these dips because I know it's going to reject the clouds. Yes, I like this because there was a hammer. So that's why I told everybody to cut the shorts here and get on the long side. Beautiful trade, guys. Tesla. Let's look at TPR. So TPR today was our gap and crap setup. And let's see what was the plan on TPR. The TPR raised the guidance, bullish bias, but cautious of 512 breaks. So cautious of 512 breaks. This is a 512 break. That's when I said gap and crap. And you short it 85s and you cover it 81, 82 area. You make $2 to $3 profit. Risking what? You're risking $500-600 and you're making $1,500 on the short side. That's a beautiful trade. That was TPR. So MSTR kind of chopped us again today. One of our choppy losers. I was short on MSTR, but when it swiped me back, I got out. Then I shorted it again, but it could never break. And then it again swiped back. Then I exited again. But finally, when I exited, it faded again. I didn't touch it. It's my rule. If something is not working for me twice, I'm out of it. But the plan was good. The plan worked for the short, but you can see that it had a lot of candles, the fake curls, which kind of, I could have, used this stops in hindsight. But this will happen. Sometimes the trades will do it. And MSTR does that. It always makes these crazy, crazy candles. But you see the short was correct. Idea was correct. Execution was a little mismanaged. And that's fine. If it's not giving me a fade right away, I'm not interested. But a lot of traders did manage it and were able to short it. In this case, you have to use 3450 as your stops. You can see, not the 512s. But definitely it was breaking the 50 EMA today. So that's why I was a short on MSTR. All right, so next one we're going to look at is AMD. So let's see what AMD was doing. AMD was our morning short, no long. That's the warning I gave everyone. It pulled back, was a nice short all day. It was our day 2 setup. Here's the setup, AMD. Let's look at the day 2 sheet. And 110.34, 11.30 for resistance. And it right away turned bearish. So it's not a long, and you short it and you cover right into the 19. So that was a nice trade. It did give a long. I said you can long on the 512. So it gave a nice little trade, couple of points, nothing crazy. And you get stop out right back there. So those was nice trades there on AMD. Let's look at Roblox. So Roblox was our 512 curl setup. If you're watching these recaps for the first time, you will understand that these are all different setups. So this was a gap down reversal, bouncing from MTF 50 EMA, and then was MTF 20s. You see the curls, 512 curl long, and then it pushed from, it did dip back, that's fine, but it's reclaimed right away. You add back, and your target was 67. Nice little push from 63, 64s all the way to 67. So that was a nice trade as well. So next one we're going to look at is SWKS. Let's see what SWKS did. That was a similar setup as Robolox 512 curls. Didn't go much, curled from 63.65 to 66 because it has sold off so much from 86 bucks. That was not a bad curl. 512 curls right here, 63 to 67. It was an okay trade, but you get out when it breaks down there. So those were 512 curls. So let's look at some day-to-day three shorts. Pfizer was a nice day 2 short, and it's very easy. It broke down under the MTF cloud and faded all day. So Pfizer was pretty easy short there. You can see that I had it on my day 2s right here on Pfizer. Where is it? 2637 and 2657, and I mentioned it, and it was a nice fade. We didn't need to focus on these setups, and because we were having such a nice day with other trades. And PayPal was also another fader. That was a little choppy though, but that was a nice short as well. Both Pfizer and PayPal were day 2 shorts there in the community. All right, let's talk about NVDA now. Let's see what NVDA was doing. So NVIDIA was a pretty good trade, but it came later in the day. NVIDIA was no long right at the open, but then you see the bouncing in a hold of 3450. This area, so that's where you long it, right? This gives you the entry. You long here, you put your stops in this area. You see this trend line breakout, flag breakout, the flow is coming in, you trade it long. NVIDIA action has been a little choppy. Every day it gaps up, keeps going, from the lows of 113. Nice for the swing traders, but it's going to face a bigger resistance now. So we'll see. A lot of good news on NVIDIA. The CapEx is being increased by these big companies. But anyways, hopefully you guys had a nice day as well. Make sure if you're struggling, watch these recaps, watch 1,000+ recaps. If you want to join the community, feel free to join the community. But let's go to the I think we are done. That's enough the recaps here. Make sure always recap losers and winners so you understand how you will trade next day. Make sure you understand the amateur moves, the midday moves. We have all this covered in the webinars, the PowerPoints, everything I cover I have in the community. And of course, if not joining the annuals, you can always watch the free education. Thousands of lives I have changed with my free education. I still educate 99% of free. So no worries, but NVIDIA has a gap here. So we'll be watching tomorrow.